Oh my God, look at that. Even the metal, whatever parts are already coming out. And I went on the Autobahn.
Okay, don't go in detail, that's embarrassing for me. Hi, I'm Christian from LR Time. In this week's episode, we want to fix this problem with the wheel alignment. We want to find the root cause for this tire wear.
I thought it was on both tires.
Well, the other tire, the metal didn't show through.
Oh my God. It's rubbing on something.
Well, it's rubbing on the road.
No, it's not.
This tire is not supposed to rub on the road. It's supposed to roll over the road, but instead it's rubbing. I feel now able to find the root cause and to eventually even get it fixed in this video, so stay tuned.
So explain what your plan is.
So a German driveway, of course, is straight in this direction, but not straight in this direction. Should make sense to everyone.
Yes.
So now you're gonna get your car on here.
Oh, I have to do that?
There we go.
Remember, budget channel and home repair. DIY.
This is going to be German precision. I know it doesn't look like it, but it will be. It's a little too high, but it's all we got. Tie wrap into here.
Yes, you could do that too.
It's maybe not going to be as good as Japanese precision, but definitely better than Chinese precision.
Yeah.
Okay, I need to get the correct distance from the vehicle. So 55, and here 55. That's important, because otherwise we're going to have a trapezoidal instead of a rectangle. Same thing on the front. And we measure from somewhere plausible. There we go. It's in the correct spot.
Oh my God. Let's see if it's also on the other side. Oh, I'm messing up Christian's setup.
Oh yeah, you're making
No,
it Chinese
here it's-
precision.
Oh my God. Now he's getting out Robin's fishing line.
And Vera got no clue what we're doing.
No.
I never used a fishing line in my life because I'm not a fisherman. But Vera actually has a fishing license.
Yes. Which is a big deal in Germany.
Oh yes, you can get a pilot's license in Brazil with the same effort it is to get a fishing license in Germany. So.
Oh, so we use it just as a weight. Oh my God.
Ah.
I thought you're gonna screw that on my car. You want me to hold it? I can do two things at once.
See my weight up there? Needs to move up.
Actually, I have those big nuts in my sewing room.
You have big nuts?
Yeah.
Maybe you can get a close-up here. See, there's the notch. The notch is cut with a 0.5 millimeter saw blade. I want this to be on the record. Okay, I'm in my notch. Those fish must be really weak because it's not very hard to get this line through.
But we only go for rainbow trout here. For carp, he has a different line.
Get this into this notch. We got these tubes here inserted into larger tubes. And this way I can easily slide this back and forth here.
Oh my God.
I don't have to wiggle around my stands, and I can do German precision when I slide this back and forth. I watched about 65 different videos, and I took the good out of all videos and I combined it with further German precision, which is the OD PVC pipe with the ID PVC pipe. That is my contribution. But the notch, the fishing line, the weights, the racks, all of that I found in the internet from excellent people who know a lot more about this than I do.
Also
But
Robbie?
I don't know if there's a Robbie's guide on alignment, but if there would be one, mine would probably be embarrassing. The distance from this rope to this rope is always 100% the same, front and back, because we got these two pipes in parallel to the car. And when we move this now back and forth, everybody can imagine that geometry. Those lines will be perfectly parallel to each other.
You know, I'm actually a really clumsy person, and I'm guessing I will mess up that setup more than once. So we are trying to beat that.
The tools we will be using is pretty much a high precision inclometer. Then I made a straight bar and also an angle on it to put that inclometer on. You're going to see in a moment how to use that.
And that's not a cheap Chinese one.
No, this is high precision US made. I bought for this video a cheap Chinese one for $13.99 on Amazon because I want to compare the two and see how accurate this reading is compared to my high precision inclometer made in the USA. I verified the alignment values given in the LR4 workshop manual, in the LR4 owner's handbook, in the LR3 workshop manual, in the Hayes manual, and in the LR3 handbook, just to find out what is the difference in between the manufacturing years from a Land Rover Discovery 4 to the Discovery 3. The Discovery 4, they actually changed the values in the front. On a Discovery 4 you have an unsymmetrical front axle alignment, and on the Discovery 3 it's symmetrical. The LR3 workshop manual matches perfectly the Hayes manual, and it also matches the owner's manual. I put them on in a chart, and we're gonna link this chart in the video description, of course, as you guys are used to in our videos. You have to make sure that your vehicle has the absolute perfect air pressure, as if you would be driving it under this load condition what you have on it. The second thing is you have to have a full tank of gas.
Which I don't.
Yes, because Vera didn't get gas like I told her to.
I have a rooftop tent on top.
Well,
that should make up for it.
We're gonna be 70 kg light in this video, so that's gonna throw off our values a little bit. The third thing is that are you gawning again?
Behind the camera, nobody sees that.
The third thing is that the air suspension is absolutely perfectly leveled. So now I got 48.
Yeah.
And what I did is I raised the vehicle, and just when it started to raise, I lowered it back to center. So it's sinking in instead of raising in to the position. There's even a setting which you can activate in the ECU to get it into precision mode. I'm still here at 48 and a half. Okay, so we got the air suspension now in a perfect height, 5mm difference from this side to the other side. That's item number 3. The fourth item is, of course, that you don't have a bad wheel bearing or a bad suspension bushing. On Vera's car, all 4 sets of suspension double wishbones are, I think, exactly 2 years old, because that was one of our first videos 2 years ago.
Yep.
We got good wheel bearings, and you have to make sure that there's nothing rattling on the vehicle. The fifth thing is you're not supposed to have the parking brake closed. This is pretty much the setup the vehicle needs to have. So we got most of it, except Vera forgot to get gas. Actually, the gas light just came on. Are you kidding me? She was complaining it's cold.
You hear the thunder?
So we had to get inside because there's a thunderstorm coming outside. According to the comments we got to our last video, this can either be a camber adjustment or a toe adjustment, what is maybe out of whack here.
Toe in, toe out.
We're gonna investigate what's wrong with our car, and before we do that, I wanted to explain you a little bit about the Discovery 3 suspension. And for that, I got my motor Bobby car out, and I want to use that as a sample because it got the same kind of suspension concept as a Land Rover Discovery. I hope everybody knows what a Bobby car is.
Maybe not. It's a German thing. Every German kid has one.
So a Bobby car is a German-made kids' toy. They scoop around on their Bobby cars.
And they are usually red. That is the off-road version of a Bobby car.
So you can get them from the company called Big. You can probably buy them off Amazon. A large percentage of the dads watching their little kids scoop around with 1.5 years in that toy car, they think maybe this thing should have an engine. And then an even smaller percentage puts in an engine into a Barbie car by the time their kids are 3 years old. I just put in a gasoline engine. And I also gave it a dual wishbone suspension. I gave it 4 disc brakes, real shocks, a rear differential.
What? How do you turn on the rear differential?
See how the wheels are not locked to each other? I can turn this one or this one.
Yeah. Christian made all those parts himself, except for the engine. He got that off a pocket bike.
put this in the front. If you look here, I close the chassis back up.
You can't close the bonnet.
Yeah. I also got a double wishbone suspension, just like in the Discovery. We're just missing the four-wheel drive. Otherwise, it would be quite equivalent.
And the air suspension.
It's the coil-over version, like in Australia.
Yeah.
Here we got the, what is that called?
Tie rods.
Tie rods.
Oh, I'm smarter than you.
Tie rods are used to adjust the toe.
And where's the sway bar?
It doesn't have a sway bar. It's an off-road rig.
Oh, right. Okay.
And you can see exactly how the suspension works, how it's moving, and it keeps the wheel pretty much aligned. Okay, and you can also see the drive shaft in here, transmitting the rotational force into the wheel. We got basically 0-degree camber. This wheel is absolutely straight and it's basically plumb, so like this. Versus on a Discovery, we gotta adjust a negative camber, which makes it look like this, exaggerated. The second thing we're gonna look at Vera's car to find out why the tire wear is so severe and almost cost her.
Major failure on the Autobahn. Yes, thank
Here's
you.
the toe. The rear toe in would be if the wheel is aligned like this. A rear toe out would be if the wheel would be aligned like this. For the Discovery, the specification says that the rear must be toe in with total of 0.24 degree. So each wheel needs to be 0.12 degree turned in this direction. And that's quite important. If this is, for example, much larger on Vera's car, it would cause that wheel to rub on the inside because we got a negative camber angle like this.
Yes, I think that's what happens.
It's probably multiple things wrong. I don't think only this value is off. I think it's actually the toe and the camber are both off. I should have built an air suspension. That would have been much better.
Yeah.
This Barbie car suffers from death wobble. It drives like a Jeep.
Oh my God.
And the reason it got death wobble is it doesn't have any caster built into it. It got 0 caster, 0 camber, and it also has pretty much no toe in or toe out. I didn't know anything about suspension and I just made it all straight.
It's still a mystery to me how he's gonna check that with that really setup.
Cool. We measure the camber angle now using the cheap Chinese gauge.
I knew it was Fabian. Oh shit.
Just to see how perfect I put the plaster onto my wall. That's this little bubble up front. Everybody knows that. And then there is an adjustment screw. This way, my chamber tool now is set to 0 on a perfect plumb surface. Got it? And it says now pretty much 1 degree. It says 1 degree.
Minus 1 degree.
You were right, it's minus 1 degree. Negative 1 degree. So it's negative 1.2 using the cheap Chinese gauge on the right hand side. USA protractor. And this thing has one big advantage compared to this one. This one did a absolute measurement. With this one we can do a relative plumb measurement. Relative means, and now it's raining again.
Yes, move on. We just gotta finish that job.
Relative measurement means that I can zero out the angle of our driveway. See now?
No, I don't see
now,
that.
And what I can do now is I can zero this here. Now it says 0. In this, where did you go again?
It's raining. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Now, all I gotta make sure I keep the orientation now exactly how I zeroed it. So it is negative 1.3.
You've got to get it plumb again.
I gotta turn this around so it is in the right orientation where I zeroed it. And it's negative 1.1.
Negative 1.3 and negative 1.1.
You got it. Now we write this down. Degree. And now we gotta do toe. And once we have the toe reading, we know exactly what's screwed up on your car.
I think it's going to be a 2-part video.
Because it's raining and you're hungry. We first got to center our string, which is absolutely parallel. We got to center them over the wheel. And you can see how precisely I can see that string here. When you look straight at it, you see it's 59. And over here, it's 59. You see that? But I can see it by better than half of a millimeter. So I got 59. Now I go over on the other side. And I already worked on this while you made dinner. 60.5 and here's 60. And now see how precise I can move this here now.
Oh my God.
See, I can, all I gotta do is touch this now and scoop it in 0.5 millimeter. It works very precise. Now I got here 60. Everybody can see that. But it's 60, see that? Beautiful. With better than 0.5 millimeter centered on the rear axle. Now we do the same on the front. 63 millimeter here. See that?
Yeah, so we gotta go in a little bit.
No.
Oh no.
The wheelbase in the front is different from the wheelbase
Oh,
in the
really?
back. Yes. You know why that is? Because we use different manufacturers of disc brakes. I got 63 here also. See that? So if you think about it, that this string from the back to the front is off by 0.5 millimeter. The amount of error, what that makes here when we measure our toe, is absolutely minute. Hey, of course, I made a calculation chart in Excel, which I can use to compute later on our exact toe reading in degrees. And of course, I upload this chart later on. You find the link in the video description so you can do this yourself. Rear wheel leading edge, which is this one here, 47.5, 48.8. Wheel leading edge, which is this one. So I read here 46.5. Trailing edge. So that side is trailing. It's not quite 52. Yeah, it's 52. Okay, here I got my setup chart. And now I enter in the actual values, what I measured. And this value. We got adjusted to toe out and we're supposed to have toe in. So welcome to tomorrow because it's day 2. What is it?
The mission for today is to replace those 2 bolts.
Camber adjustment bolts.
Yes. You know, nice and shiny.
I put the part number in the video description. I hope they fit.
Oh my God. What do you mean? You hope they fit? Oh my God.
So before we open this up, I set up the cheap Chinese angle gauge to get it roughly back into position when I install the new bolt. You can see how that bolt end is supposed to face towards the brake lines.
Yeah.
So our bolt is in the wrong way.
So I had that idea first.
There's no tension on it. See, I can move this around. I can now get the bolt.
It's closing up the nut.
This is how the camber adjustment works. When I turn this bolt, I can pull this in and out, yeah, over quite a big distance, yeah.
Do it again.
So this is going and pulling it in. It looks like this, and I want to get it now only roughly back to where it was on our cheap Chinese gauge. So I give it some torque so it doesn't slip, yeah.
Yeah.
So this side is pretty much done. Now we do quickly the other side, yeah. So that's it. So this is the setup we will use to tighten the nut.
Oh, I hope you can see that's really dark. I have no idea why he does that, but I'm sure he has a reason.
And we put on WD-40 here. And this gives it a really nice pivot point.
Did you already lower it?
Before we adjust now the camber, we're gonna set the suspension to precision mode. So here we're gonna go now to tight tolerance. And what this does, it will set the precision of the air suspension to plus minus 3 millimeter instead of the regular plus minus 10 millimeter.
So he said he's also got to move it a few meters so that wheel will, you know, be level again, will be straight again. Now, so he's doing weird things with the gap tool. He can lower the rear left wheel on its own. Not moving yet. Oh, now. Whoa, cool. So that's what the gap tool does.
Now the car sits nicely. The air suspension is in the correct height. We got the correct tire pressure on. We have the fuel tank full of gas. So everything we didn't do right last time is done right now. So I gotta loosen now the nut a little bit because it's already on too tight. So I gotta use a crowfoot wrench. There, that's good. I got the socket with a cardan joint on the adjustment bolt, and I'm using the long ratchet, and I can comfortably now adjust it from the outside.
Nothing happening. 1.5, 1.4.
So unfortunately, in order to tighten the nut, we had to take the wheel back off. Otherwise, I don't trust myself to get all that torque on here. 133 Newton meters, and I'm not faking the click, okay? Faking stuff is never good, right?
Yeah.
It's basically fully out, so I couldn't go a tenth of a degree more.
But if I tip it over, it's all your fault.
I let the engine run, and I'm in
Tight tolerance
mode. We got now a camber of 0.6. The nominal specification is 0.75. So I know it looked now easy in the video, as if we would just turn this bolt and tighten it. It wasn't that easy, but this was about 2.5 hours work.
Yeah.
So now we check this side.
Oh, look at that.
So there's our setting on this side, and it reads 0.6
Yeah.
on both sides.
That's perfect. Good job.
Now we don't want to forget that this bolt is not torqued yet.
Yeah.
We're gonna loosen the tie rod nuts. There. Are you on?
Yeah.
What do you have?
60.
I got 61. Let's check the front. So we went around about 3 times to adjust it to the center of the hub right here at this spot. And now we can do our toe alignment. And for that we got to read the values here and type them into my Excel sheet. So I enter this here, 51.5. And now it tells me how to adjust the rear toe here on these numbers. So the leading edge on the left hand one, I'm gonna put to 50 millimeters, and the trailing edge to 49. So I gotta make sure I'm not hitting the lines. And we're gonna adjust this to 50.
Yeah.
Moving.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, stop.
What?
It's 50.
Now measure the trailing edge. 49. Huh?
Yeah.
It's 49.
Yeah.
It's because my sheet works.
That's really good.
Well, I'm gonna actually snug up the nut.
That's 50.
50
Yeah.
in the rear. And you gotta tell me if I'm in the right direction. 50.5 in the front.
Yeah.
49.
No, you gotta go back.
So now we do the same thing in the front. And what I got to do here is, of course, make sure that the steering wheel is straight. And I start with my setup values here, entering them in my spreadsheet. Okay, now I know what to adjust.
Yeah, so you gotta go out more.
Yeah, but I have to reset this
Okay.
steering by letting the engine run. Okay, so we're done in the front. It took a lot more iterations than in the back, because whenever you do an adjustment in the front, you got to turn the engine on, wiggle the steering wheel back to straight, and repeat the measurement. And you get the numbers closer and closer and closer. But I think overall it was between left and right at least 5 iterations before we had it. So 10 in total. That took in the front now more than an hour.
Yes.
We right now within spec with the numbers.
Yeah.
But the final decision, if we leave it like this, will be after the test drive.
And after lunch.
We got to take the air suspension out of the low tolerance mode. So I go service test. Suspension, set normal tolerance right here. Proceed, yes. Continue. And that turned off my red indicator light. So just to complete this video, we also want to measure the caster angle. And the way you do this is you set your wheel on absolutely straight ground. So we actually went over here to my friend's workshop. And here you put a board on the wheel. Put a piece of tape in front of it. Vera turns the steering wheel.
Oh boy.
Here we have here 20 degrees pointing out in the front. Yep, that's good enough. Just so I have a mount. That's all it is. And I put my cheap Chinese gauge on here and level it out. And I level it out here. 0 degrees. And now I let Vera turn it back 20 degrees in the other direction. Good. So it's level. And now I can read the angle. And it's 5 degrees. And it's supposed to be 4 degrees. So here's our right hand side, and it's about 4.7 degrees. Caster angle front, and we're supposed to have 4 degrees, and the tolerance is plus minus 0.75. So we are slightly out of spec. Well, according to the owner's handbook, we're actually better. That's true. So it depends what you look at. Okay, so we're on the test drive, and all what matters now after this adjustment is that the steering wheel is straight. Then everything should be correct. Here in our curvy roads, bumpy roads, first impression is it looks really good. And anyway, I'm done with that for now. Even if it's not 100% straight, it will stay like this, okay? It's an off-road rig and Vera is driving it. Yeah, I think we found the root cause, okay? We actually had toe out on the rear axle. Bottom line is, I did that setup about 2 years ago, and I must have done something terribly wrong. I didn't use the string method to align the rear wheels, and it took us 2 years until that tire wore down so much that it actually became visible. Now the Excel table we used to adjust the toe, I'm gonna put a link into the video description so you can download it and you don't have to recreate that from scratch. Trust me, it's well proven now and it works really good.
Yes.
And that completes our video this week, which is kind of a special video because it is our 100th video after 2 years of YouTube. And in addition, we
Have
got
20,000 subscribers.
Yes,
As of
thank you
today.
very much.
That is so great.
And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and think about subscribing. All our videos every Sunday are kind of like this one. They have the same style. And we really thank our patrons. They make these videos possible. If you are interested in our sticker or in our patch, please drop an email to Vera. You find her email address in our channel description. And she will get back in contact with you.
Yes, I will.
And that's really it for this week.
Yes.
And we'll see you
Next Sunday. So the master blacksmith is at home for the weekend.
It's the morning.
Yes, he made a clothes hanger looking so good. And now he's putting a patina on.
Oh.
We have another noise. We believe is coming from the camshaft. So now that we are done with my Discovery 3, we're working on our trailer. And Christian and I, we cut a new board for our trailer, you know? That was really expensive. New bolts, stainless steel bolts, new silicone, everything looking brand new again. How cool is that? See, here's my car.
Look at that. So that project is done and I'm finished for today.
Me too.